talking.
Oh dear God, I did not know that cat was in here. Oh my God, I just had a heart attack. Hold on, pause the recording. Resume Okay, here we go again. Take two.
Yes.
Take two with the captions right on my face. That's the way we're gonna work today.
Okay.
Start this again. Grand Rising.
Grand Rising.
Have you had your coffee yet?
Of course. Of course. Yes.
How long have you been up already?
Since about 5:30.
Okay. All right then. Oops. What were we gonna talk about today?
I cannot remember. You were saying how people have been calling you crazy.
Um, Calling me crazy. So folks from my pre-COVID life, um, are concerned that I'm in multiple cults, apparently. Um, and so, that's, the word crazy wasn't used, but to say that
Cult. Cult. Yeah.
cults, and then it just has to do with the fact that, like, you know, I don't know what, that I'm openly, outwardly discussing UFOs and the frickin' flybys that we had at the GISA conference. We had multiple fleets fly overhead, and we had over 1,000 witnesses, and most of those people were filming the event. We had a TR-3B fly overhead, and it was all in restricted airspace, and so there's a lot of excitement about the kind of disclosure that that is as that word gets out. It's interesting that no one's sort of picking it up and running with it. I think because of the group that it came out of, because of the um I don't know, bad rap. People don't like Elena. I think a lot of um I mean, the folks in the audience of Jasik were almost half from out of the country.
Wow.
And so I think that it's a uniquely American woman thing to not be so crazy about European women. I think that that's what it is. I don't really know what else it might be, because everything that she said, um, regardless of whether you like her delivery or not, or you're used to and can tolerate foreign accents or not. I know a lot of people are turned off by foreign accents, which makes me nuts. But everything that she has said has proven has kind of gone through the wash and been proven over and over again, as have all of the people connected to this group. The disclosure that happens then gets corroborated, whether it's, you know 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years later, doesn't really matter. um I don't know if that's some of it, but here's a um anyhow, there were thousands of us out there, and we saw dozens of ships, and there were multiple flyovers, and lots of people got them recorded. And we had been out there, and I don't know that I was saying this in the last recording, but my sister has been recording ships in Rhode Island for 2.5 years.
Hmm.
Um, Everywhere she goes, she sees ships. And
Wow.
the response that she gets from her interaction with the craft is phenomenal. Is just phenomenal. I can't do that. I can't do what she does. But to say, in a galaxy where there are billions and billions of stars, where somebody said like 4 billion or something, or 7 billion stars, and that each one of those stars is a galaxy in and of itself, with just as many star systems and solar systems like our solar system inside them. It's just insane at this point that anybody would
Think that we're it. Yeah. We're just it. We're the only ones. There's nothing else. Yeah.
try to pretend that
Mhm.
seeing craft means that there's something wrong with you. So I'm not really sure where the I mean, no, I know where the cultish thing comes from because most of those people are liberals, and lifelong liberal. I mean,
Yeah, I know. Me too. Me
I get
too.
it. I totally get it. And
Well,
I really had to reevaluate and make decisions that were different than the decisions I had been making because the decisions that I had available to me were inhumane and
yeah,
were intolerable to me. So, so for these people to say, well, she's crazy because she doesn't want to get,
yeah.
or because she doesn't want to be an experiment, and we're okay being an experiment because
Or mandated medicine is okay, but
yeah,
my body, my choice if I don't wanna
well,
have a baby.
basic,
But anybody can
that's
tell me,
basic.
like, the government and my boss can tell me what medical procedures I have to take, and I'm okay with that, and what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's perceived as there are vulnerable people out in the community, and if you don't do everything you can to protect those vulnerable people, then you're evil and mean and you're trying to kill people.
well, yeah, but that's one size fits all, that's assuming that this so-called, remedy to protect
Assuming
people
what?
actually is a real remedy, which it's not. Yeah, because we know
How
that
many times does it have to get
right,
proved over and over
yeah,
again
yeah, you're not protecting
by the
anybody.
science?
Yep.
By the science. And yet again, I think last night, what on I was watching Redacted or listening to Redacted last night, and Bill Gates is again on an international forum kind of saying if you don't want to be vaccinated, then you don't have a right. You don't have then a right to free speech because free speech is the only kind of speech that's free is the kind that touts the party line.
Exactly, and that follows the narrative, right? You
How
can only if you go
un-American,
along with it. Yeah,
fucking un-American is that?
it's unbelievably un-American.
And the irony of me, who for most of my life was like, get patriotism out of my way. I can't
Yep,
tolerate it because of the patriotic fervor that created Nazi Germany.
yep,
But the irony is the complete opposite of that experience, whereas most of the patriots were going, excuse me,
yeah,
freedom, freedom, instead of toe the party line,
right, right.
adhere to all of the mandates. And so just having an understanding, I mean, there are still so many, so many, so many people who don't comprehend the fact that we've had two countries running simultaneously, or a country and a corporation
Mhm.
running simultaneously, and no desire to really explore that, which boggles the mind. Boggles this mind. It boggles this mind. But even just so that, one person said to me, well, I fact checked the assembly, and you're on a government watch list for terrorism. That's what the assembly is on. And I mean, my response above and beyond, like, how fucked up and insane is that? But that you would actually put stock in fact checkers? Do you know who runs fact checkers?
Yeah, no kidding. Bill Gates.
Like, so
Right.
it's not like I have attempted, except that I know because I've been pulled over by the jurisdiction,
Yep,
right? I've been pulled over by the corporation, by an agent of the corporation who
yep,
demanded my license and registration. And he did not arrest me. He had to and did give me my license back.
yep.
Said, yeah, I guess you check out. Right. So had I been on a terrorist watch list, I don't think that would have happened.
No, you would have had 5 or 6 cruisers all surrounding you. Right, yeah. I know you and your sister in your wet bathing suits. Like, oh god. Yeah,
So
seriously.
just, but also when I was at JISC, how many people there were that approached me that were like, "Oh, give me the website. Give me the YouTube channel. I have so many questions. I have so much I want to learn. I've been thinking about this for years and I just don't know how to do it."
Yep.
And so, what can we do about this whole process aside from like, well, you can't just download the app. Like it's, that's not going to happen
Right.
with becoming an American state national.
Right,
So,
but you see that whole thing about that wanting to download an app and this expectation, that
no,
goes
I made that up. I mean,
no,
just
but that's probably what people like, that probably is what, because we have been so conditioned to instant gratification, which is literally part of the psyop that has caused this apathy and the inability to think for ourselves as a population. I mean, that's part of it. It's just it's I know.
Mhm.
Oy vey.
Priorities, I mean, I think there are so many people that are looking for their people. There are
Mhm.
so many people who are looking for home, who are looking for community. Um, and it's been one of the challenges for me among, you know, diehard patriots, because I'm so much more community oriented than pull your bootstraps up on your individual on your own
Yeah.
and get out there and do everything by yourself. I just don't think that's realistic. And it's not desirable from where I'm coming from. I value community and I value groups of people having dialogue, processing and doing things together, being part of a community is, and I mean, I understand the individualism, but I am much more group oriented, and the phenomena of individualism is such a small part of the way the world functions. Most other cultures are not individualistic in the way that Americans are. Most other cultures are collectivist. And so
Right.
how do we get to a place where we're honoring the way, the interrelatedness of the way indigenous folks did things? Um, uh, the indigenous folks that gave us the ideas to have our Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
Um, they had something there that I
Well,
don't.
they did, but remember, I think too, especially in America, we are actually part of the invading species. So we have that is a genetic lineage that I think all Americans share. Whether we want to admit it or not, we come from that. That is like literally that is the Aryan occult, Draco Seal said. That is the toxic masculine. That is the hierarchical, militaristic master race programming, which is all about, I mean, it's all built into that. And so people have a hard time, and it's really cool because, just sort of on the side note, my cousin and I have committed to another 40-day discipline. We're doing the seals clearing night after night. Tonight is night 12. So we're going to do the full 40 once again, but bang bang night after night. The left side, the Jehovian seals, the right side, the Draco seals, one after another. And the interesting thing is she has several divine masculines in her spiritual group who have been participating. So this is the first time we've actually had the masculine energy actually participating in this group container, I guess, so to speak. And every night we've had at least one, but oftentimes two and sometimes three. So this is really, really cool. Things are definitely changing and there's more awareness, I think, in that whole, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so I'm about to take off and head to the West and participate in another conference.
Special conference. Yeah, that'll be really cool.
I have been in a major funk, which I finally feel like I'm getting out of, and feeling much more like myself.
Hmm.
Um, uh, I've had some really great just moments of clarity in the last like 24 hours. Started yesterday morning, kind of waking up, just being like, stop, like
Mm.
done, revoking any consent that may have happened, because I actually remember yesterday morning dreaming that somebody was waving a piece of paper in front of me going, "You signed a contract." So I was just like, null and void. No, like I woke up being
Yep.
like, null and void, no contracts, they're gone. I
That's
revoke
right.
consent to anything I may have agreed to.
That's right. I made a mistake. I didn't know. Now I know.
Uh,
Done.
Not necessarily made a mistake, but the way in which we can go unconscious, right? So having free will usurped
Mhm.
is one of those Draco traits.
Yeah, it is.
I want to usurp your free will. I want to cajole you. I want to convince you. I want to manipulate you into a place of fear or reactiveness so that you're not thinking clearly, so that you're then signing on the dotted line and giving up your autonomy and you're giving up your freedom. So that whole bullshit net
And
that
that's all part of the reptilian brain because if you think about it, what's the reptile brain? Isn't it funny how that's actually related to the Dracos and that lizard consciousness, which is about hierarchy and status and survival,
yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, so there's a sense I feel like I'm moving into the conference that I'm and the place that I'm going to and the folks that I'm going to be with a little bit of a framework that I didn't have a few days ago, even though it is playing in the back of my head that there's a lot of people in the SSP world, the secret space program world and the super soldier people who have been abducted um with or without their consent, or people in the military who have been forced into 20 and backs, people who have been MK Ultra, people who have been manipulated by the government and by the military and have had their brain wiped, their
Yep.
consciousness divided, clones created of them, forced into being in outer space. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who do not remember their experiences because they've been mind wiped. But there are lots of people who have bleed throughs and then think they're going crazy, or who have accessed some of the memories. But the framework that I'm talking about has to do with comprehending that the way that that experience impacts people, the way that the experience of abduction um impacts you when you have not been when you have not been rescued by your family and connected with your family that may be ET or that may be just benevolent and not your family but good people um in space helping other people in space, that whole concept of like those people like in the Nachtwaffen, the Deutsch who have populated space, who went into space after World War II, during World War II, and populated space and made more agreements with reptilians and greys. That faction of programming has severely impacted all of those people. And so many of those people are utilizing frameworks which have been created by the bad guys. And so they're seeing one
Mhm.
another and they're interacting with one another and they're having expectations of one another that is deeply rooted in that junk, which is why I think there are
Yep.
so many infiltrators, government infiltrators, people who are trying to keep the MK Ultra stuff intact, people who are Satanists who are trying to fuck with people. All the dark magic that happens among a lot of those people is something that is palpable, right? There's a lot of mental illness. There's a lot of and
Yep.
by that I mean separation between themselves and divinity.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
a lack of connection and heart space and a unity, right? A reciprocity, an understanding of connection that's severed. And
Right.
so just sort of going in with a framework here, and looking for more of my tribe. And though a lot of the people that I'm going to be hanging out with are definitely tribal, my tribe, um, I'm going to be meeting them in person for the first time because we've only connected online for a long time. and met some of them and hung out with some of them at G6. Super excited to see them again and do a little bit more hanging out. But just to have that framework, and so excited that I'm feeling more like myself as I go into that. But anyway,
Good.
that's a bit of an aside, and I don't know if we want to cut that out of what we end up posting, because what I really want to get at is I don't know if you saw the text that I sent you last night, but I tried to go looking for questions from people, and
Oh, as far as in the right, we're
there
not
isn't
really
the ability
we're
for people to respond.
but people can they can put a question, they can certainly put a comment in there because Irene puts comments in.
I haven't seen that. So, I I have to look again. She has said that she did.
Yeah,
I know
I've seen it.
that option was there with the first couple videos we had, but none of the most recent videos that we have, I don't see any comments and I don't see an ability to put a comment in. And so
Weird.
we need to look at that again. And I don't even know if maybe we do use this or don't use this. But I'm sort of here and gone again, and it would be good to at least book some more time with you. And I want to talk about what people want us to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, if we would know what that is, that would be very helpful.
Aside from just like, what do I do now that I'm interested in sovereignty? Aside from
Right.
um,
Yeah.
any
Well, I
thoughts?
mean, I think we should post this just because it's been a while since we put anything up. And it also gives
Look,
people an insight
we
into
are
what's going
looking
on.
for subject matter that you want us to talk about. So
Right.
let us know what you think, and we will try to make sure that you have a place to do that in. Thank you for your time and for your interest and for your energy. And it doesn't matter whether the questions that you have are strictly 3D, like what paperwork do I fill out, or where do I go, or what do I do, or whether it's more esoteric and more interdimensional and intergalactic, that's fine too. I love talking about that stuff. So let us know what you think and what you need. We will try
Yes.
to answer your questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
End recording.